that waiver now. There may be comments during a public hearing
Right.
that may alter that, and so I think it's good to sort of give your initial impressions, but withhold your final determination until later.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna try to push the board. I was just, if on your next submittal, if you can,
And we weren't looking for,
yeah,
termination.
just kind of we're kicking the tires right now.
No,
No, I don't think anybody's, yeah, but I think if you, in the next submittal, the bus parking, shadow parking is just something if you could submit and maybe something to consider.
This might sound like a silly question, but sorry. So the piece that's coming off of the front lot, that's going to change ownership and will be owned by, okay, that's for sure, okay. And then, how are the buses? The buses are coming in, going around, going,
we estimate they'd come in, and then come in this way, drop off, park at night,
so they'd be nose in, and then they would back out,
in the morning back out,
make the, and come
all
in.
rights and come back in.
So they're going to utilize the northern part of Turner Road.
They would, now, like, there is a different design that has them perpendicular that they could back out and come back.
Yeah, because trying to swing into there, especially if people are trying to come out of there, sometimes, depending on the time of day, it's impossible. And the other thing is, right where your driveway is, I don't know how often you've been there, especially in the rainier weather, but that tends to back up. I don't know if you guys remember when the owner of SMA, I think a couple of years ago, he wanted to just split the lot, and there was a big problem with the drainage there.
Well, the drainage, there's going to be easements or something, because the drainage goes over.
And just saying, I didn't touch on it, but this parcel actually has a lot of pavement and broken gravel. That part of this application is to remove some of that. So his initial parking lot goes back here. But part of that is to remove and make his parking lot conform, structure,
Okay.
and get the required amount of spaces. And on top of that, we would have to install drainage and infrastructure to accommodate our driveway and our house.
Yeah, because it's right on 32 there, it's like a lake at times, especially in the badder weather, so, okay.
I have a question for John. John, is there any plans to do anything special in that strip on Route 32? I know that Yonkers is putting in curbing and sidewalks on the south side, but is it wide enough for them to put in a turning lane, like either direction? Yeah.
Nobody's going to be concerned about the number of curb cuts by any additional curb cut. It's right on the south side, it's a driveway.
Okay, no, let's see.
So then, you go with the minimum spacing in that location. The DOT is going to be concerned about the Turner Road, so maybe we want to solve something like the Turner Road. Clean that section up. I think the
That
plan.
intersection's a hard intersection.
Consistency, and I think it's.
Seeing out that intersection's hard.
Okay, thank you.
Just one other point, and this is mostly for council, is that the way that I look at this with respect to the transfer of the access parcel, is that this would not be a subdivision at all. This would be a boundary line change and then a merger with the back parcel, creating one property.
Now, would that need to be completed prior to the application moving? We can do it all together?
All together.
Okay. Any questions?
In that case, would there be satisfactory frontage? Once and if that merger were to occur,
That-
would that?
That's the $64,000 question at this point in time. Right.
But I'm just thinking ahead, because obviously that's the main issue, as John brought up. So
who's gonna-
if
who's gonna
moving
resolve
forward with
that?
that procedure, if that were to happen,
Well, that's it.
I guess we would then just want some clarity as to if it were all one parcel, if that would provide you adequate frontage.
Right, and that's what Gary has opined about. There is some qualification in Gary's opinion, so that needs to be further clarified. But in my review of the appropriate measures under the code for the purpose for what you're doing this and how you're doing this, is that it would be boundary line change and then a merger altogether.
Have you happened to speak to the building inspector's office prior to issuing this decision? Or I'm just wondering if there's been any sort of collaboration? Or if we've been answered?
I can't answer that.
So, Rich, would their next step be to speak to Gary directly about this interpretation as far as that piece goes to frontage, or is it going to be a referral to the ZBA because we have an opinion from the code enforcement officer?
I think what would be helpful, because of the somewhat qualified opinion, letter that Gary gave, is for the applicant to submit to Gary what they believe is an appropriate interpretation as far as this configuration and access. It's not really access. It's actually, the real issue is frontage under the new hotel regulation. So it's brand new. Gary interpreted. He has a qualification in there. I think that he certainly can listen to a memo that's drafted and given to Gary and to the planning board and myself, and Dennis, and all the consultants. And then Gary can reach out to me and to others to determine whether or not he wants to change his opinion. If he decides to say that even after all that is done, it doesn't give you frontage under the code, then they have the ability to either ask for a variance or an interpretation and/or variance from the ZBA.
Okay. All right, so we're good with both, are we?
Yeah, if you don't mind, then we would work directly with Gary. There are some items on there that he's asking for, specifically traffic management.
Traffic, yeah.
I don't know if you want us to work with Gary in combination.
Well, please keep the consultants and everybody in the same loop, so everybody's on the same. When it gets back to this board, we're not trying to play catch up. All right. Other than that, are any other questions, concerns? Does the board think any questions?
Is it too early to ask ESO to look at the design?
I was
or-
gonna-
Oh.
No, I think you could. I mean, this is a basic plan that you'd like to proceed with. The issues of parking, the issues of height of the building, the issues of access, although they could modify through the process, I think it would be helpful to the applicant to get their opinions early on.
So you can make those referrals for us, please? Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further business, motion to close?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That makes up for the short meeting.
Yeah, right.
Man, oh man. Good thing I live right down the road. It's past my bedtime.
Yeah. Are you one that can go home and just go to sleep? I'll be thinking about this for like another